Welcome to the series where I test out money-making methods from the OSRS Wiki. Feel free to leave suggestions on which moneymaker you'd like to see next. And also, if you didn't already know, I have a nice playlist that I've created that has all of the previous moneymakers that I've already tried, so go ahead and check it out if you haven't already. With that being said, let's get into the video. So for today's video, we'll be doing one of the most overpowered money-making methods in the entire game, and that is picking Flax. Now, this money-making method is so overpowered that there isn't even a entry on the OSRS Wiki money-making guides for picking Flax. There are some other ones for spinning Flax and casting spin Flax and other stuff like that, but we'll be doing the one that they don't want you to know about. I did get the first suggestion for this moneymaker a while back, but it has taken me some time to arrive at this moneymaker because I just have so many suggestions from all of you guys. But don't worry, I will eventually get to all of the ideas. There are just a lot to get through. And with that being said, keep leaving your ideas in the comments. I really like going through them and picking, new ones for different moneymakers. And it'll also help me if you type in 1 hour in the beginning, just to make it more easy to find. YouTube has a nice little search bar where I can just type in 1 hour and it'll bring me all the comments that start off with 1 hour or have the term 1 hour written in the comments. So it'll really help me out if you put that in there. Jumping into the gear setup for this moneymaker, it is a very low requirement moneymaker, so you won't really need anything. The only thing I am bringing is the graceful set and the max cape because we will be doing a lot of running. But besides that, you really don't need anything. I suppose if you really wanted to, you could bring some stamina potions, but I definitely wouldn't. I don't recommend that, so yeah. Now I'll go ahead and show you some of the different spots where you can pick Flax if you choose to do this moneymaker. The first spot that I'm taking you to is in Lawliet. I think I'm pronouncing that right. There's a Flax field over here that is pretty close to the bank, but I won't be using this spot because it does have the requirement of, I believe you need to start mornings and 1 to have access to this place. But if you do have access to this area, then go ahead and use it. It's pretty close to a bank and it's a lot closer than the Flax field that we'll be using. But next is the one in Prifddinas. This is by far the best one, I believe. There are some Flax right next to the bank, like right next to it, as you can see here. So originally, I was thinking of using this one to see how many Flax we can get in 1 hour, but if anyone realistically is going to even attempt this, they probably won't have access to Prifddinas. And if you do have access to Prifddinas, what the heck are you doing picking Flax? The next spot is close to the Corrend Woodland. It's actually at Land's End. That's the location where the Flax is at. And this one is also kind of close to a bank. You have some Flax plants right here. A couple. You really don't need that many because you can get multiple Flax from each one. So there's a couple right there, and then you can just use the bank deposit box right over here to bank your Flax. Now, requirements for this place, I really don't think there's any besides having access to Zaya, which I believe pretty much anyone can have access to if you do the proper quests. So that might actually be a good spot to pick Flax. The next spot I will be showing you is the spot that I will be using for this video, and it is the one that is in Sears Village. There is a huge Flax field to the south of the bank, and this is where I will be spending 1 hour of picking Flax. And when I first thought about doing this video, this is the spot that came up in my head. It was the one in Sears Village. The other spots that I'm showing you that have Flax, I didn't even realize that they were there. It was just looking through the OSRS Wiki on the Flax entry where I found out about these new spots. And as you can see here, there is a area where you can actually spin the Flax that you pick into bowstring right here. So that's also helpful if you're trying to make even more money, because spinning the Flax is definitely better than picking the Flax, just a heads up. And now we'll be going to the final spot where you can pick Flax. Well, the final spot that I'm showing in this video anyways. I'm sure there's a lot more spots out there. We'll be using the Spirit Tree to teleport to the Gnome Stronghold, and this is where the last spot will be where you can find Flax. Now this one is also pretty close to a bank, but the Flax is spread out quite a bit, so you'll be having to do a lot of running between each Flax piece. But I mean, there's a bank right above you over here where the stairs are at, so it might be worth it. And that pretty much wraps up all the locations of where you can find Flax, at least the good ones. We can now go ahead and go back to Sears Village and commence the 1 hour of picking Flax. And I gotta say, I had a lot of fun doing this. Totally wasn't paid by the Flax Keeper you see here to say that. So you might be wondering why I'm even making a video on picking Flax. I thought it'd be a fun little thing to do because it was suggested by a couple people, so yeah. And I've done these type of silly moneymakers before in the past, like collecting ashes at the GE. Even the first video of this series was kind of a silly moneymaker, but it was actually a whole lot more better than picking Flax. It was the picking bananas for 1 hour video, and that one actually got in a decent amount of money, especially when you compare it to this. But yeah, it had been quite some time since I'd done a silly moneymaker, so I thought we'd go ahead and get this one out of the way, because like I said before, I do plan on getting through all of the money-making methods that you guys suggest, and maybe even all the money-making methods that are on the wiki. Now, before making this video, I was debating whether I should do half of each one. So I had a suggestion to do of picking Flax and spinning the Flax, and I was thinking about doing 30 minutes of picking it and then 30 minutes of spinning it, but in the end I just figured that I'd make a full hour on picking the Flax just to keep everything simple and consistent. And again, I will eventually do the spinning Flax video, but I just thought we'd of course open up with the silly method that I don't think anyone will ever do. If there are people out there that do this, I have no words. I don't know what to say, but yeah, this isn't the best moneymaker if you didn't already know that. You can't even make the argument that it is for people who have literally like no stats, you know, because it literally requires nothing. You don't need any stat requirements to do this, but even with that, there's so many other methods that you could do that don't require stats or anything like this, so there's really no reason for anyone at any point to do this as a moneymaker. If you have the stats to kill Zulrah, just go do Zulrah. Zulrah drops stacks of 1000 Flax as a common drop. I think maybe before Zulrah, Flax picking might have been worth it, but with the amount of Flax that Zulrah spits out, it's just made this moneymaker obsolete. Now, I did say earlier that you could possibly bring stamina potions to, I guess, increase the amount of Flax you could pick, but literally drinking one stamina dose would probably eat up all of the profits that you would have made in that 1 hour anyways. So again, I hope nobody actually brought stamina potions with them, and I hope nobody's even doing this moneymaker. Now, as far as the act of picking Flax goes, there's really nothing to talk about here. It's a pretty straightforward method. All you do is just run back and forth to the Flax field and to the bank, and then you just spam click the Flax on the ground. And interestingly enough, the Flax is pretty random on how much it gives you back whenever you're clicking from the one plant. So you could literally click the plant and only get one Flax and then it disappears, or you can actually get a full inventory of Flax just from clicking the same piece of Flax that is on the ground. You do though have to watch out for the Flax guy that's right here next to me that you see picking Flax, because this guy will actually come over and start picking some of the Flax that you're picking. So I don't think he really likes us being here. So I think that's kind of his way to like get us out of here, which is pretty annoying because sometimes he'll pick the Flax that you're currently spamming. And for him, apparently he doesn't know how to efficiently pick Flax. As soon as he bends over to pick up a Flax, he will take the entire thing with him. At first I was pretty annoyed by this guy, but then I had to put myself in his shoes, and he's probably annoyed that we're here in his Flax fields eating into his profits, so it's understandable. And towards the end of the video, he actually does come in handy, so I can't talk too much trash about him. Something funny that actually happened during this video was someone recognized, I guess who I was. I guess they watched my videos as I was running over there. I think they were doing agility. They caught me and asked if I was doing a 1 hour picking Flax video, and yeah, they called it. I was. I've had people, you know, call me out and recognize me out in the game sometimes, and it's a pretty crazy feeling because we're not a huge channel. It's a relatively small channel, but it's still nice to, you know, talk to some of you guys. And with that being said, we have finished our 1 hour of picking Flax, and as you can see here, we got a nice amount, just over 1200. If we do a price check on this, you can see that we made a whopping 3,612 coins from a good 1 hour's work. So yeah, there's literally countless other things you can do besides this that will make you a lot more money. But again, some of the good news, that guy who was picking the flax earlier with us, he will actually exchange some of our flax for bowstring. So that's pretty nice. And you do have to have a diary for this. Depending on what level of Kandarin diary you have completed, this guy will give you bowstring for your flax. We only have the hard one completed, so he'll give us 120 bowstring a day. And as you can see here, that brings our profit up to 24k. And yes, I know I have to get the elite Kandarin diary done. I don't feel like devoting time to Barbarian Assault. It is, however, the only diary that I'm missing. So maybe one of these days we'll get it done. And that is pretty much it for this very interesting video. As you already saw, we did make 24,012 GP from 1 hour of picking flax, but that was thanks to our diary. Without it, we would have made around 3,600 GP. So the consensus, I'd say don't do this moneymaker. Definitely don't do it. I just want to say thanks for checking out this video specifically, because I know it might not have been that entertaining, but thank you anyways. If you did enjoy it, please give it a thumbs up and possibly a subscription. And as always, I will catch you guys in the next episode.